Hey, this is Nero, aka Nero, aka Neron, aka Zero, aka Kindness, aka Zero Kindness, aka NXK, aka Nathan, and I'm going to talk about and explain in depth how random battles work in Final Fantasy VII. In this game one can get battles in basically two different places, on the world map and on field maps. It should be obvious what the world map is, so any place, screen rather, that is not on the world map is a field map. Now, not only are there two distinct locations, the world map and field maps, to get battles on, but also are there two kinds of battles, random battles and scripted battles. Both the world map and field maps have random and scripted battles. In general, it is very easy to discern them. On fields, short for field maps, any boss battle is a scripted battle, but not every scripted battle is a boss battle. On the world map, for instance, the Midgar Zolom is a scripted battle. Scripted battles work almost the same on fields and on the world map. Random battles, however, do not. There's a difference both in when random battles occur on fields and on the world map, and in which random battle will occur. As a rule of thumb, random battles on fields are not random at all. Neither the when nor the which aspect is random. Technically, random battles on the world map are not random either. However, they appear to be random even upon closer inspection, and they are harder to manipulate. Therefore, I will focus on field maps, but I will also try to elucidate the mechanics behind random world map battles later on. Now, in Final Fantasy VII, some fields have random battles, for instance any screen of the Ancient Forest. Some fields don't have random battles, for instance any Fort Conda screen, and some fields temporarily have or don't have random battles, for instance the Shinra mention after or during the Calm flashback, respectively. Let us call any field that has random battles a hostile field. For as long as random battles are enabled on a field, it is a hostile field. When random battles are disabled on a field, either permanently or temporarily, it is a non-hostile field. If you have ever watched a livestream of an FF7 speedrun, chances are you've heard of the term step counter or step count. The step count is an in-game value that keeps track of how many steps you've taken on hostile fields. It is incremented for every step you take on a hostile field. It is used only for hostile fields. It is not used for non-hostile fields or the world map. The step counter consists of a step ID and an offset. At the beginning of the game, the step ID and the offset are initialized as 0. Saving and resetting does not reset one step counter. Every step one takes increases one step ID by a value of 2. Once one step ID reaches 256, it is reset to 0, and the offset is incremented by a value of 13. The offset is considered modulo 256. Hence, the step counter is unique modulo 256 times 256. So technically, after 65,536 step IDs, the step counter is reset. In a speedrun, one does not even come close to taking enough steps to reset one step counter though. Now, on fields there are two modes of movement, walking and running. One-step walking covers 1/4 of the distance one-step running does. Even though it takes slightly less time to complete one-step walking than one-step running, running is distance-wise by far the faster means of movement, as one needs to take 4 steps walking to pass the distance of just one step running. In a speedrun, it is in certain cases still advisable to move by walking instead of by running. I am going to explain why. After every step on hostile fields, a so-called battle check takes place. A battle check determines whether one will get a random battle or not. During the battle check, one's so-called danger value is compared against a so-called battle check value. If one's danger value is less than or equal to the battle check value, there will not be a random battle. If one's danger value is greater than the battle check value, there will be a random battle. Even though the battle check value is supposed to be a random number, it is actually taken from a lookup table. In fact, every battle check value is determined by the step counter value of the step the battle check is triggered on. Therefore, by disassembling the game code, one can know the respective battle check value for every single step counter value in the game. This allows one to know precisely what value one's danger value must be less than or equal to on any given step to not get a random battle. What about the danger value then, you may ask? The danger value is increased every time one takes a step on a hostile field. The danger value is reset to 0 after any random battle, as well as by saving and resetting. Every hostile field has an encounter weight. One-step warning increases one's danger value by the encounter weight of the hostile field. So, the higher the encounter weight, the higher the increment of one's danger value. Thus, on average, a higher encounter weight corresponds to a higher frequency of random battles. As I said, one-step warning increases one's danger value by the encounter rate of the hostile field. One-step walking, on the other hand, increases one's danger value by only 1/4 of the encounter rate of the hostile field. In conclusion, one-step walking increases one's danger value by only 1/4 of what one-step warning increases the danger value. At the same time, as I mentioned earlier, one-step walking covers only 1/4 of the distance of one-step running. This means that, in terms of distance, one can walk for 4 steps, or run for 1 step, to cover the same distance. In terms of danger value increase, one-step running will increase one's danger value 1 time for the encounter weight of the given hostile field, whereas 4 steps walking will increase one's danger value 4 times each for 1/4 of the encounter weight of the hostile field. So, by 4 steps walking, or 1 step running, one will have traveled the same distance and increased one's danger value by the same amount. Therefore, it might seem that it should not make a difference if one moves by walking or by running. Not quite at all. Remember the battle check. A battle check is triggered after every step on hostile fields. Indeed, it does not matter if it is 1 step walking or 1 step running. Consequently, walking for 4 steps will yield 4 battle checks, while running for 1 step yields only 1 battle check. Since random battles on fields occur if and only if, during a battle check, one's danger value is greater than the battle check value, it might seem that walking causes more random battles than running, because walking entails 4 times as many battle checks as running does. On average, this does hold true. If one wanted to get as many random battles in as little time as possible, on average, one should walk all the time. However, surprisingly, in certain cases, walking for a certain amount of steps actually reduces the number of random battles one will get. How so, you may ask? Remember that every step counter value has a respective battle check value, and it is possible to know those battle check values. Even though walking causes more battle checks, at any of those battle checks, as walking increases one's danger value by much less than running does, one's danger value will be a much smaller number. Consider the following example. Imagine you load a save file on a hostile field with 2 save points. You start in one save point and intend to reach the other one in as little time as possible. Imagine also that you are aware of your step counter and of the battle check values for any step counter value. Assume that the distance between those 2 save points is 42 running steps, which is equivalent to 168 walking steps. Let us assume that if you run for those 42 steps, you get an encounter on the 8th step, which means that during the 8th battle check, your danger value is greater than the respective battle check value. Now, assume you walk for the first 8 steps. Then, during the 8th battle check, your danger value will be only 1/4 of what it was when you went for the first 8 steps. Assume that at this point, because your danger value is lower than before, you are able to pass the battle check. Afterwards, having removed that random battle, you run for the remainder of the distance. As you walked for the first 8 steps, you only covered 1/4 of the distance that running would have covered. Therefore, you need to run for 6 additional steps. Also, for all the remaining battle checks, your danger value will be higher than before, because you did not have that random battle, which would have reset your danger value. Still, depending on the respective battle check values, it is perfectly possible to pass all those battle checks. In that case, walking for a few steps in the beginning allowed you to remove a random battle and save quite some time on this. This is exactly why, in a speedrun of FF7, in certain cases, one can save time by walking for a certain amount of steps. These are the basics you need to be familiar with to understand how random battles on fields work in Final Fantasy VII, but there's even more. In a tool-assisted speedrun, one can employ a technique called Stutter Walking. As every step is made up of several step fractions, one can alternate between walking and running in intervals much smaller than entire steps. Interestingly, one's danger value increment is determined by the mode of movement of the last step fraction of every step. If one runs for all but the last step fraction, and walks only for the last step fraction of every step, one can cover a distance almost as high as that of an entire step running, but increase one's danger value by as little as possible. This is called Stutter Walking, and it allows one to greatly reduce the number of random battles one will have. Nonetheless, it only makes random battles much less frequent. It does not remove them entirely. A technique called encounter skipping, however, can. If one opens the menu on the same frame one is to get a random battle on, one will skip that random battle. This is called encounter skipping. While it can be used to remove literally every single random battle, skipping random battles does not reset one's danger value. So, after skipping a random battle, one is likely to get another random battle very soon, as one's danger value is not reset, making it harder to pass battle checks. Additionally, if the last random field map battle before a scripted field map battle is skipped, one will trigger the so-called repeating boss glitch and get that scripted field map battle twice in succession. Pre-emptive attacks are a particularly interesting kind of random battle. Every step counter value has or does not have a pre-emptive flag. If one does not have any preemptive material equipped, on average 15 out of 256 steps have a preemptive flag. Now, a random battle will be a preemptive battle if and only if it is triggered on a step that has a preemptive flag. As random battles occur only if a battle check is not passed, which means that one normally cannot get a random battle on just any random step, one might find that preemptive flags are often wasted on steps one does not even get a random battle on in the first place. Moreover, not all battle formations allow for preemptive attacks. For example, one will never encounter Master Tomberry in a preemptive attack. Then again, quite some scripted field map battles, among them 5 boss battles, can be turned into preemptive attacks. For instance, Absent Genova Birth can be encountered in a preemptive battle. In order to turn a scripted field map battle into a preemptive attack, one needs to trigger it on a step that has a preemptive flag. In contrast to random field map battles, which normally cannot occur in just any given step, scripted battles can, effectively making it easier to have preemptive scripted battles than preemptive random battles. So much about the when aspect of random field map battles. What about the which part? It turns out that which random battles one will get on fields follows a very simple pattern. Upon every hard reset, an in-game counter is initialized as 0 and incremented by 1 for every random battle one has or even skips on a field. That counter is used globally for all save files and not reset by soft resetting. It is, however, reset once it reaches 65,536. Whenever a random battle occurs on any field, that in-game counter determines which encounter one will get. This means that after a hard reset, the first, second, third, and so forth encounter on fields will always be the same. For instance, immediately after a hard reset, one will always encounter a Master Tomberry on any of the 2 split-up screens in the Northern Cave. This concludes the field map section. Onto the world map. The world map uses its own step counter, danger value, encounter weights, and battle checks. To start with, one is always running on the world map. Whenever one enters the world map, either by leaving a field that leads to the world map, by resurfacing via the submarine, by loading a save file on the world map, or after any battle, random or scripted, on the world map, one's step count is reset and takes the value of 116. By disembarking any vehicle, for example the buggy, one's step counter value is reset to 226. In order to get a random battle on the world map, one must not pass a battle check. A battle check on the world map, just as on field maps, compares one's danger value against a certain battle check value. If one's danger value is less than or equal to the battle check value, there will not be a random battle. If one's danger value is greater than the battle check value, there will be a random battle. To trigger a battle check on the world map, one's step counter, which has an initial value of 116 or 226, first needs to reach 256. At 256, it is reset to 0. From then on, every time one's step counter reaches a value of 10, it is reset to 0 and a battle check takes place. The step count is incremented for every step, either by foot or by buggy, one takes on the world map. If one takes steps on a part of the world map that does not have random battles though, the step counter does not increase. This means that one will not get random battles while traveling by the highway, the tiny bronco, or the submarine, or while riding a chocobo. Traveling by the buggy, however, does not remove or reduce the number of random battles. Still, if one continuously gets out of the buggy, for doing so resets the step counter to 226, one can remove all random battles on the world map. Every type of terrain in every world map region has its specific encounter weight. Generally, forests have higher encounter weights than grasslands, which have higher encounter weights than beaches. Several parts of the world map do not have any random battles at all. The marshes one can find the Midgar Zolom in, any river one can pass by buggy, any of the 3 wooden bridges before Wutai, any forest in the Cosmo area around the ancient forest, any forest in the icicle area, and the patches of frozen soil around the city of the ancients. Even though random battles on the world map and on field maps are triggered in the same fashion, namely by not passing battle checks, there is one distinct difference between world map and field map battle checks. Whereas on fields, the battle check values used in the battle checks correspond to the respective step counter values of the steps the battle checks are triggered on, this is not the case for the world map. In addition thereto, whereas on fields it is extremely easy to predict which encounter one will get in a random battle, this is not the case for the world map either. In fact, upon entering the world map, by leaving a field that leads to the world map, by resurfacing via the submarine, by loading a save file on the world map, or after closing the final battle results screen of any battle on the world map, 4 things determine the battle check values and the encounter in case of a random battle. Firstly, the in-game time, the exact seconds counter upon entering the world map. Secondly, every time one has a battle check, regardless of whether it leads to a random battle or not, the battle check values for the next battle checks and the encounter in case of a random battle are recalculated. Thirdly, tapping left or right, or using L1 or R1 to rotate the camera angle. It does not matter which of these buttons one presses, but every time one does, the battle check values and the encounter in case of a random battle are affected. Just running up or down, without any horizontal movement, does not affect the battle check values or the encounters. Finally, just being in a certain part of the world map, let us call it the Zolom Square, affects the battle check values and the encounters. Thus, being aware of one's in-game time, one can manipulate world map encounters, for instance by only moving up or down, or by always holding left or right. This concludes my random battle guide. I hope you found it enlightening. Thank you Brutal L, Anthony, NFITC1 and Erzwine. Thanks for watching.